everyone, welcome to Showcase 7 Video 2. You're about to see all the entrants for our 7th showcase, which was to create a flag for London. 25 of you will be participating, so competition is going to be fierce. And don't forget, we also have the Flag This Ghost Flag. As usual, we're not going to reveal who the creators of the flags are in this video, so you won't know which flag is ours. But don't worry, in the next video when we reveal the results, we will reveal all the creators. And just before we reveal the flags, the link to the ranking form is in the video description where you can rank each flag on a scale of 0 to 10. For the rankings, we're also going to include the current flag of the City of London, which represents a small area of central London, rather than the Greater London metropolitan area. We're also going to include the flag of the Greater London Council, which was used from the mid-1960s to mid-1980s. So let's check out the flags. Here is the first entry. The lion in the middle stands for the strength of London, and the outer areas of the flag stand for the UK and how London holds it together as an economic and cultural hub. Next up is entry 2. The sun represents the bright future of the city. The crown and castle represent the Queen, and the lion is the national animal of the UK. Here is our third entry. This design adopts the cross of St. George, the patron saint of England, with the addition of a blue field with a wavy pattern, which represents both the Thames and the open ocean through which London once had projected its might and had become the most powerful metropolis on earth, and still remains a major powerhouse of global economical and political importance. The shades of red and blue are identical to those on the Union Jack. The wavy pattern is taken from the flag of the Greater London Council, which was used from 1965 to 1986. Next up is entry 4. The colors of the flag are the colors of the Union Jack, because London is the capital of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The symbol in the middle is a simplified version of the sword on the flag of the City of London, which represents St. Paul, the patron saint of London. Next is entry 5. The proportions of the flag are 3 to 5. The cross represents England, while the red sword symbolizes the sword that beheaded St. Paul, the patron saint of the capital and largest city of both England and the United Kingdom. The 32-pointed star represents all of the 32 boroughs within Greater London. White represents peace and honesty, red symbolizes bravery and strength, and dark blue represents the rivers of London, including the River Thames. Next is entry 6. The flag is mostly based on the historic county of Middlesex. The red is the color used on the Cross of England, where St. George is the patron saint. The 3 white stripes represent the 3 knives called saxes, which are used on the flag of Middlesex County, as well as the flag of neighboring Essex. And each white stripe represents St. Paul as the patron saint of the City of London, which some could even consider the county town of Middlesex. They also represent the waves of the River Thames. The golden yellow disc in the center of the wider red stripe represents the crown used on the Middlesex flag, as well as the city's location in the center of the Greater London area, and the sun signaling a new dawn for the city. The 5 alternating stripes of white and red represent May 16th, which is Middlesex Day, an event celebrating the historic county and its contributions to both English and Great British histories in general. At a glance, it could also look like a more simplified version of the flag of Middlesex. The flag is also based on the former flag of the Greater London Council. Next is entry 7. The flag is a combination of the City of London flag, the flag of England, and the Union Jack. The circular symbol in the middle represents the London Eye, a well-known landmark in the city. The colors of red and white on the City of London flag are reversed, so that the red is now the background. Next up is entry 8. The creator took inspiration from local icons like the double-decker bus, British Guards, telephone booths, and post boxes. The one thing these all have in common is the color red, which is why it's the dominant color of the flag. The white from the flag of England is also used. Gold is added because it looks regal and is befitting of a capital city for the UK and a major city on the world stage. Red symbolizes the rich cultural history of the area. White represents nobility. Gold symbolizes ambition. The cross represents St. Paul, who is the patron saint of the city. The flag is called the Cross of St. Paul in keeping with the UK tradition of naming flags after saints. Next we have entry 9. The colors are from the UK flag. White represents peace and honesty. Red symbolizes bravery, strength, and valor. Blue represents vigilance, justice, loyalty, and perseverance. The building depicts Big Ben, an important landmark of London. The sun on the top right of the flag represents the warmer weather that London gets because the south of the UK is warmer than the north. Next is entry 10. Red represents bloodshed, blue represents the river, and white symbolizes peace. The cross is St. George's Cross, modified to look more English. Next up is entry 11. The red and white wavy lines represent the River Thames, which runs through the city. The crown in the center symbolizes Queen Elizabeth II and the monarchy. The colors used are from the UK flag, which London is the capital of. Similar to the UK flag, it flies at a ratio of 1:2. Next, we have entry 12. Green represents the land, blue represents the River Thames, and gold represents the rich history. In the middle of the blue stripe, there are 2 olive branches taken from the Roman Empire flag since the Romans found the city of London. A royal crown represents Buckingham Palace, where the royal family lives. Next is entry 13. Blue represents the sky. The brown shape depicts the Big Ben building. The white disc depicts the clock with a black hour hand and minute hand. The red cross alludes to England. Next is entry 14. It is meant to look similar to the flag of England. The diagonal stripe represents the River Thames, which crosses the city. The color red symbolizes courage, and the color white symbolizes purity. Next up is entry 15. The red represents the blood of the people who died that fought for independence. The white symbolizes peace, and the star represents all of Greater London united. Next, we have entry 16. The waves represent the River Thames. The crown represents the monarchy of the United Kingdom. The 5 stars represent the London Assembly, and each vertex represents one member of the Assembly. Also, the arc in which the stars are arranged symbolizes the order of sitting in the Assembly. The colors are those of the UK flag. Next is entry 17. The dark blue represents the flag of the UK. The white and black represent Big Ben. The white also represents the sun because they say the sun never sets in the British Empire. Next, we have entry 18. White represents the entire city. The blue stripe represents the River Thames. The top star represents the City of London, and the bottom star represents Greater London. Next up is entry 19. This flag has the colors of the British flag plus yellow. The red symbolizes bravery, the white symbolizes purity, the blue symbolizes unity, and the yellow symbolizes riches. The white 20-pointed star symbolizes the 20 boroughs of Outer London. The blue 12-pointed star symbolizes the 12 boroughs of Inner London, and the yellow circle represents the City of London. Next, we have entry 20. It's a diagonal wave of stripes in the shape of a shield to represent the transition of time and progress. This design was inspired by the coat of arms of 2 noble families, the Montforts and the Montagues. The blue represents the following: loyalty, tranquility, Judaism, conservatism, and the rivers of London. The yellow represents the following: chivalry, community, Christianity, liberalism, and the districts of London. The green represents the following: stability, unity, bravery, Islam, and the economic and cultural wealth of London. The diamonds represent the past, the present, and the future, and the city's dedication to architecture, athleticism, and performing arts. Next is entry 21. The flag uses the colors of the English flag and City of London flag. The radiating stripes represent the expansion of London over the years. The white stripes represent peace and unity among all the people of London, as well as the River Thames. The red stripes represent the culture and energy of the city. Next, we have entry 22. The aspect ratio is 1:2, the same as the Union Jack. The blue rectangle, made using the golden ratio, symbolizes the Thames River, which crosses all of the London urban area. The central element is a simplified version of the Tudor rose, a historical symbol of England. The red and white stripes are also a symbol of London and England. Next is entry 23. This flag brings together multiple elements from both the official flag of the City of London as well as the unofficial flag of Greater London, which is already commonly used. The blue and white waves on the hoist and fly represent the Thames River, but are split into 5 stripes, each to represent England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the overseas territories of which London is the capital, and the English Channel, Celtic Sea, Irish Sea, North Sea, and Atlantic Ocean, which surrounds the British Isles. London's growth and prosperity was made possible through mastery of the water, after all. The charge in the center contains a sword to represent the one which beheaded St. Paul, the patron saint of London, but the blade points down to represent peace in the modern day, with the red representing the bloodshed that the city has experienced over the centuries of war and conquest. The crown atop the sword represents the monarchy and the position of London as the head of the country, while the 32 stars surrounding it represent the 32 boroughs of Greater London, ensuring they can all be represented equally. The flag itself has deliberately foregone a simplistic design, opting to be more complicated so as to better fit in with the ancient aesthetic of the existing flags and heraldry of this ancient country. Next, we have entry 24. This is a redesign of the former Greater London City Council flag. The wavy blue and white pattern in the middle represents the River Thames. The red color stands for the English soil. The two golden crowns represent the people on both banks of the Thames. The red lines with golden borders cutting through the river are the bridges of London. The largest one in the middle is the Tower Bridge. The two smaller ones stand for the many bridges to the west of Tower Bridge. There's no cutting line to the right of the flag because there's no bridge downstream of the Tower Bridge, only tunnels. Next is entry 25. Blue stands for London, red stands for London, and white stands for polar bears. Here is entry 26, our final entry. The white symbolizes the coldness of the city. The blue represents the River Thames, as well as a simplified shape of Big Ben. And the red is a simplified representation of the London Eye, as well as a symbol of the perpetual energy that animates this city, which is a major world pole for trade, finance, and so on. The global shape clearly resembles the logo of the London Underground, a major tourist attraction of the city. The shades of colors were all taken from the British flag to allude to the city's status as the capital of the United Kingdom. And as we mentioned at the start of the video, here is the official flag of the City of London. The sword symbolizes the sword that beheaded St. Paul, who is the patron saint of the city. The cross is, of course, St. George's Cross, which is the national flag of England. And here is the flag of the Greater London Council. This council existed from 1965 to 1986 before being replaced by the Greater London Authority, which doesn't have a flag. The gold crown on red is taken from the banner of Middlesex, a historical county where Greater London is located today. The blue and white waves represent the Thames River and the Port of London. So those were all the flags. Be sure to have your say by ranking all the flags on the ranking form. The closing date for voting is August 23rd, 2022. We will try to get the results video published as soon as we can after the closing date. The flag with the highest score will have their flag reviewed in that video. Best of luck, everyone, and may the best flag win.